Yo, what's going on, America and the rest of the world? Xander J. Hobson here, comedian, director, and producer of boxing documentaries and troll to those who need trolling. This is another episode of The Devil's Advocate, brought to you by the Brilliant Artist Movement. Folks, do me a favor because I'm trying to grow the platform. Subscribe, like this video, share it, and by all means, leave a comment in the comment section because I enjoy checking out the feedback from these videos that I make, as well as exchanging opinions and points of views with you all. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it appears as though the DEI cuts are in full effect. And they not only apply to government, state, and municipal workers, as well as people in the civilian sector. The DEI cuts now apply to the deceased. Major General Charles Calvin Rogers. He served during the Vietnam War, and at one point, he was the highest ranking African American to receive the Congressional Medal of Honor. In 1970, General Rogers was awarded this medal by then President Richard Nixon. General Rogers, wounded 3 times in combat while leading the defense of a base over in Vietnam. But even with all of those accolades and heroism in combat, today, March the 16th, 2025, General Rogers no longer appears on the U.S. Department of Defense's page that displays servicemen who have won the Congressional Medal of Honor. Now, as an African American who proudly served his country in 2 branches of the United States Armed Forces, I'm outraged by these cowards who sought to remove General Rogers from the Department of Defense's page for Medal of Honor recipients. But I'm not surprised. See, the whole thing here is, it is best to know who your enemy is. Because in the last 25 or so years, we have gotten a false perception of who our enemy is. Now, we know that most people in the Republican Party can take African Americans or leave them. So that's why the overwhelming majority of African Americans voted Democrat. But as a result of that, the Democrats started taking African Americans for granted. And they have been undermining us every step of the way. And when you look up, you got all of these other ethnic groups have come into this country and they have slid in front of us because the Democratic Party, who we've thrown our full support behind, used us and they stabbed us in the back and they allowed other people to pass in front of us. We know what the Republicans are about. We know that the Republicans can take African Americans or leave them. So that's why from 2025 going forward, we have to get something for our vote. No matter who we vote for, Democrat, Republicans, or independent. When these other racial groups come over to America, they don't care about being liked. All they want is the opportunity to get at a buck. They don't care if the white people like them. They don't care if the white people hate them. Just give us the opportunity to get at a buck. And what do you see? Everybody who comes to America is buying up America, but African Americans. And this is why we don't have no real power base. We have spending power, but we don't have actual power. Think about it. We as African Americans, we don't really own anything. We don't even own our own neighborhoods. When I was growing up, the businesses in black neighborhoods was either Jewish or African American. And in a lot of those cases, the Jew would be willing to employ African Americans, and African Americans always employed African Americans. And that's power when you can put your own people to work. You put your own people to work, they spend their money in their neighborhoods. Money is supposed to circulate 7 times in your community. But when it comes to black people, our money doesn't get to circulate 7 times in our own community because we do not own the businesses in our community. Now, when you look at our other brothers and sisters from other races, their money gets to circulate a minimum of 7 times in their neighborhood because they own their neighborhoods and they do business in their neighborhoods and they circulate their money in their neighborhoods and they support one another in their neighborhoods. But sadly, that's not the case with black people because we are consumers. And because we are consumers and we don't own anything, we don't have any power. Let me tell you something, folks. General Rogers is not rolling over in his grave because his name no longer appears on the Department of Defense's Medal of Honor recipient list. Because you know why? General Rogers is a black man who served in the United States Army at the highest level. General Rogers knows the kind of shit that white people do with that mindset. You know what he is rolling over in his grave about? He's rolling over in his grave because black people have lost their footing in America. That's what he's rolling over in his grave about. And you know what? General Rogers wouldn't be so concerned about his name not appearing on the Medal of Honor recipient list. General Rogers would be concerned that black people don't own their own neighborhoods. He would be concerned that black people can't put one another to work. He would be concerned that black people don't stick together. That's what General Rogers would be concerned about. So with that said, folks, this is what I was thinking about. You might be interested to know that General Rogers is still buried at Arlington Cemetery, and his headstone does have him listed as a Medal of Honor recipient. So we got that going for him. They even have a bridge named after him in his hometown. But again, at the end of the day, General Rogers was a soldier who won the highest medal that the United States could award a serviceman. He's the kind of guy who took the licks for the rest of us. So trust me, he's not worried about his name not appearing on the Medal of Honor recipient list because he know what he did. He's worried about black people not having their shit together. So with that said, folks, I'm done with it. Bam!